Today on Axe, we'll be comparing Overdrive pedals. So today we'll be comparing 4 different Overdrive pedals. We're going to be starting with kind of a typical baseline Ibanez Tube Screamer. This has been kind of my go-to pedal for the last couple of years. You might be able to see on the back that it is a Keeley modded version of the pedal. He doesn't actually mod these, but you can find instructions on how to perform his version of the mod to this pedal pretty much everywhere online. Swap out the same resistors, the same diodes and everything. Kind of makes the pedal be as good as it can be. From there, we're going to move over to the Mission Engineering Delta 3, which we recently did a video for. It's got fairly similar controls. It has, gain, level, and then 2 separate EQs for the high and low. And then, Chris, what are the other 2 that we're going to be doing?
All right, so we've got some bad boys over here. These are a little more of our feature-heavy pedals. Right here, I got the ProTone Bulb. This is the deluxe version, so this is kind of a little more, we're going to be testing all the switches and stuff on it. This is a really cool pedal because obviously on and off, but you have an attack switch that boosts the mids and gives a very articulate sound for very heavy riffs or low string kind of stuff. So this is optional on there, so you can turn it on and off if you need it. And then we've got our regular, right here is our level or volume. Then we've also got our tone right here, and we've got drive, so the basic features. And what's really cool over here is we've got a symmetrical and asymmetrical drive change for the diodes, and that's really cool because you get a different texture of distortion when you change the diodes. So, and this one is also a top, loading for your plugs and for your power plug, so that saves a lot of space on your pedal board.
Yeah, actually, all 3 of the pedals that we're demoing today have that feature, except for the good old Tube Screamer is side loading, unfortunately.
And then our next guy right here, we got a RockBox Boiling Point. It's an overdrive and a clean boost. So this one is probably, along with the ProTone Bulb, the one with the most features as well. We've got a level or a volume again. We've got a drive, and we've got a tone. But what makes this one a little bit different is it has a digital foot switch, similar to the Mission. So when you turn this on, you won't feel the click of it, like you'll just see the light, so you need to pay attention to that. And this also has a bass boost, so if you're a single coil user or you have a really bright humbucker, kind of like a P90 or something, it's really great for that. And on this side, instead of it being just 2 selector, it's 3s. So it's on the bottom, it's going to be the asymmetrical drive. In the middle, we have no diode, it's a clean boost. And then up top, we have the symmetrical drive, which is a lot more like the Marshall Plexi type drive.
Cool. So yeah, we're going to get all these set up on a pedal board, get a camera set up for that, and see what these things are made of. Okay, so we just went over 3 different applications where you might want to use an overdrive pedal. The first being using the drive all from the pedal itself, from its gain circuit, from a clean amp. For that clean profile, we were actually using a Fender Deluxe Reverb out of the Kemper Profiler. And then for the second 2, we were actually using the La Sailor Mert Chug Chug profile, which is, we wanted to use that just because it's easy to find online. Anyone can pull that up if they have a Kemper. And it's a 5153 profile, which is, you know, one of the more commonly boosted amps to send our hotter signal up front. So yeah, we went over the Tube Screamer, the Mission, the ProTone, and the Boiling Point. So Chris, what were kind of your impressions going over the 4 different pedals?
Well, first off, I mean, as you can see, it's such a big variation from these pedals. We have your standard offering, you know, TS7 with the Keeley mods, which is like, you know, the souped up, you know, standard mod. And then we've also got, you know, a unique new pedal, the Delta 3 from Mission Engineering, which is really unique sounding, and it was really surprising. Definitely a standout. Yeah, so let's go over these. So yeah, the TS7 was really cool. I enjoyed it. It was the first pedal that we kind of went through in our progression. This pedal provides you with a nice mid boost, and it kind of lowers your bass a little bit, so it gives you a little bit of a cut. And what I like about this is like a more focused rhythm sound, and also with lead sounds, it just gives you a little more sustain. This pedal is definitely great for someone who's looking for something affordable and looking for something that they can replace easily. So if you're like someone who's like, oh man, I'm looking for like a pedal that I can find somewhere else or around the country, the Ibanez TS7 with Keeley mod is something you can definitely find, and the mods are findable online. So whether you have one that's modded or not, you can actually do that yourself.
Yeah, and the other thing I wanted to mention about this particular pedal, about the TS7, you know, you hear all the time people freaking out over the tone of like, oh, I have to have a vintage like, you know, Maxon 808 or like TS9. The 2 modes that the TS7 has is a TS9 mode, and then the hot mode, which really all it's doing is the same thing that the ProTone and the RockBox are doing, which is switching in a diode to utilize more of its own distortion, which I actually thought sounded pretty good. So yeah, the TS7 is actually pretty legit, and you can lock the knobs down if you're using it on stage. So that's the TS7. What about this guy?
Oh, so the Delta 3, that was definitely kind of a standout today. And like, it was a standout because it has such a unique tone. This pedal has got an interesting kind of drive setup that the higher you turn the drive is kind of switching between like a regular diode type drive into more of like a fuzz tone almost. So when Chris was starting to mess around with the gain stages, I almost started getting this really grindy, almost like sustainy, woolly sound that's really great for all sorts of like kind of more droney music and, you know, definitely some heavy metal stuff.
Yeah.
What I also really like about it too is when it was run in like just the diode stage by itself, it has a really vintage, really great tone. Like when you're playing with it, I can imagine, you know, covering songs from like from fuzzy kind of stuff to Jimi Hendrix and all sorts of great things just with the pedal by itself. And the low cut and the high cut really just help, you know, get your tone in the parameter. Like every guitar is a little different, helps just get the distortion just right.
Yeah, and in talking to the guys at Mission about this pedal, they mentioned they might actually be relabeling the low cut as a bass boost pedal, because this pedal, I'm not sure if it came through in the video, at least on your guys' end, but the low cut, if you crank that thing up, this pedal has so much headroom that if you're using it to drive an already distorted amp, it just goes into berserk mode and it almost sounds like, I don't know,
Yeah, it's just
like a robot.
It's really cool, and it's a unique sound. Like it might not be 100% controllable, but I think if you're trying to get a cool sound on a record or something, it would definitely stick out.
Yeah. Cool.
So we got this ProTone bulb over here. This thing was really cool, and it's definitely deluxe. I really like that this one has the attack knob on it. I know that they make a version without that, just the ProTone bulb attack.
Which means that attack mode is on all the time.
And this one gives you that, again, that option to turn it on and off with the attack. And I thought that was really great. This pedal has some really unique tones in it for, you know, a metal guitarist who's playing 7 and 8 string guitars, or even a really low tune 6, like, you know, that you need that articulation, or maybe you're having more than 2 guitar players playing rhythm tracks. Yeah, this thing just really stood out. It's got a diode selector right here, so you can take the diode in and out.
I think that's for switching between symmetrical and asymmetrical.
Oh, actually, yeah, 2 different types of diode drives, which works out really great because besides it being in the attack mode, when you have the attack mode off and you're using the diodes, you have a really versatile overdrive pedal. So this pedal is kind of like the dead horse almost, like when it's out of the attack mode a little more, and you can get some of the original ProTone dead horse kind of sounds.
Yep.
Which is pretty much a souped up tube screamer from what they kind of described it as.
Yeah. On ProTone's site, they describe sort of the predecessor of this pedal as a souped up version of this pedal, which this is a souped up version of this pedal. So yeah, being able to compare these two is actually really cool.
Yeah, and again, they sound really different. So just because they say it's a souped up version of this, like this pedal's got definitely a lot of the ProTone Bulb. It's definitely got a lot of different variation because you have those different knobs. And our last guy that we ran, this green guy, was a RockBox Boiling Point overdrive and boost. So it's a clean boost and an overdrive. And this one's really cool because it had a bass boost on there. And the bass boost kind of gives it some of the qualities.
It's very subtle. I would say that bass boost switch is more kind of universally usable than what would be relabeled as the bass boost knob on here. Not to say that this is unusable, but this would be a very sort of application specific use if you're really, like Chris said, trying to get that fuzz like kind of Hendrix thing going on. Whereas this, like if you just want the low end of your guitar to kind of chunk and come through a little bit more, you could use it for something like that.
Definitely. And then what's really cool about it too is also it works great with single coils. So a lot of the guys, using their bridge pickup and they're still doing rhythm work, it sounds great, especially for like a punk rock band and things like that. They use single coils, sounds really cool. On here, we've got the drive, mode, and we've got 3 diodes here, so that we got 3 different selections. The down mode is the symmetrical drive, and so the symmetrical drive again is more of a kind of like a Vox type drive, and it's definitely got a little more bright top end and a little bit louder. There's not as many diodes in that circuit. In the middle, we have a clean boost, which if your amp is already distorted, you better be careful because this will get really loud. Loud. Yeah, there's no diode, so this is a direct signal pumper, so you would want to be careful with that, but this works good on like boosting a clean sound. If you're a jazz guitar player and your amp's not loud enough, this is really good with the bass boost. You get a cool sound. And then up top is kind of the more Marshall-esque type sound, the plexi asymmetrical drive, and what I really like about that is the grinding mids and a little more gain. When we turn our gain all the way up, we lose a little volume, but we get a little more distortion. So that's really cool. So this is a really versatile pedal.
So yeah, that is our kind of summary of these 4 pedals. If you guys dig this video, be sure to let us know in the comments, and we can try to get our hands on whatever other pedals you might be curious about, and not necessarily do a shootout to see which pedal's better, but just kind of like see what the strengths of those different pedals are, kind of like this video. So yeah, anyway, thanks for joining us here on Axe Hacks, and we'll see you guys next time.